Welcome to Fork This with IntoxiKate. I am your host, Kate Schlientz, and I am so excited to be back after COVID. We're dusting off the mics with someone who inspired me to kind of come back and start the conversation about food here in Westchester and beyond with Chef Marc Taxiera of Augustines Salumeria in Mamaroneck. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm excited to have you. So tell me a little bit about your background, because you have a very interesting background in the food industry.
So my background obviously is rooted in Italian cooking, because my grandmother, my mother would always cook in the kitchen. Growing up, that's what I'd watch. And then as I progressed in life, having jobs in the food industry and, I was in a bagel shop for a long time and delis and that kind of stuff. So kind of gravitated towards that. And then went to school, Institute of Culinary Education. Out of that, went to the city and worked in the city ever since until I opened up my own. So
tell me some of the places that you worked in the city, because you've got some pretty big names attributed to you.
So the first place I worked at was Lydia, which is Lydia Bastianich's place. It was her place. And that was kind of like my first real kitchen job in the city. It was amazing. It was very educational. I worked with some great people. One of them is Beppe from Strategy. Yeah. I worked with him. He was a sous chef when I was there, when I was coming up. And it was just great to be immersed into that. And, he was a great teacher. And there were great guys there that really showed me the ropes. I used to come in, clean fish, and then I'd hang out afterwards into dinner service, and they'd let me I was free labor, so it really wasn't let me, but
you were welcome to.
I was very welcome. They were like, "Oh yeah, come on in." And I would hand fish to the saute, or I would go down and get vegetables, and so I was just there I would just hang out there, and I was just so immersed into it, and the guys really took a liking to me. And after that, I went to Beppe restaurant. I worked a little bit before that at Baldoria, which was Rayo's son's place, and then out with Giuseppe. And then I went to Beppe and the Russian Tea Room. I was there for about 12 years.
So you had such success in the city. Why come to Westchester? Why open this here in Mamaroneck?
Well, that's a good question. It really roots into family. We were looking at other places. One of the places we looked at was Chicago, where Brianne is from, Texas. Other places. And it kept coming back to my children, which are here, and my mother, who she has MS. So she doesn't really get around that often and that much. So we kind of wanted to stay local. I grew up in Westchester.
Okay.
I grew up in Augustine. So taking Brianne around and just showing her the different spots. And we liked the lower Westchester, and we liked the Sound Shore area. So we decided to settle somewhere in this area. And this place kept calling me over and over on the computer. Every time I'd search, open vacancies and stuff, this kept on popping up. So it kind of drew us into this spot in particular.
And do you feel like the customer or the diner in the city is different than Westchester, the same?
That's a loaded question.
And it's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. And I'm going to try not to get in trouble. No, I you know what? It's the same. There are I guess two different diners. But I feel like the same. You definitely have the same people here that you do in the city. Absolutely, for sure. Foodies are foodies, no matter where. It's just amazing to me how many people from here. I mean, I've always known it, but being from in the city, coming up here and all the people that are transplants. Transplants in the last few years that really love this restaurant because it does feel so New York.
It does.
And just the amount of people that are transplants, it's just amazing. We were just meeting them all the time. So I feel like Westchester has, especially nowadays, has the food scene for sure. 100%.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's getting more and more, with all the restaurants opening. I see all these incredible restaurants opening, and amazing chefs and amazing talent that's here. I think people are realizing that it's just the same as in the city.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to ask you what kind of drew you here, because I feel like we have more people kind of venturing out of Brooklyn, out of Manhattan, and finding spots in Westchester. And it's kind of cool.
It is. And, listen, definitely one of the driving things, and is the real estate pricing, rent pricing. It's just a lot easier to work in smaller cities with, getting open and stuff like that. So there's definitely that. And the big thing is you can get a bigger restaurant for your buck. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really a great drawing point for chefs, especially just starting out or with limited budgets.
And when you were looking for this spot, did you have the mission of Augustine's in mind? Did it kind of develop as you were inspired by the location? No,
we had Augustine's in mind. It definitely transformed into a few different restaurants, but the main focus was there. Mm-hmm. And then as we progressed, it kind of grew into like a different beast. And that, I think that's the way restaurants should be. There should be the main focus. And then as you find a spot, maybe it doesn't fit your original kind of plan. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of like a living document, just keeps on developing as you grow. But this place, the framework for Augustine's was there, but when we got in here, and I kind of felt like the front should be like the Salumeria area, and the back kind of is this more upscale kind of dining experience.
Beautiful dining space.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's why we kind of developed into what you see in front of you today at Augustine's.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about some of the food in front of us.
Sure. Yeah.
Talking about the restaurant in front of us. What do we have here?
So we got 2 lunch. This is actually a brunch special, but we got 2 specials here. We have a Nuja egg and cheese on a piadina. So piadina is like a Italian flatbread. And then we also have the Italian stallion, which is currently.
This is pretty amazing.
It is, yeah. Well, it is pretty amazing. I'm not just saying that. But so the Italian stallion is a kind of our take on Philly cheesesteak. It's our Italian beef that we slice thin, our house-made cherry peppers, and then we take American cheese and kind of caramelize it on top of the bread. Mm-hmm. So you get that like crunchy, gooey Italian beef with American cheese. So
looks amazing.
Well, thank you.
And then we can't forget about this guy here.
So this one is our foie gras macaroon, kind of our amuse-bouche, kind of something just to start in the beginning of the meal. Kind of, just sets the tone for the rest of the meal.
One of the things that I really adore about you, and I think, it took me a second to probably convey to you because I was like geeking out over the steer program, which we'll talk about in a second. But I feel like you have a very clear mission in mind in terms of the menu, but then there's just all this opportunity for a little bit of fun and a little bit of creativity to sneak in. And it goes to everything from, a brunch dish to a sandwich to something like the foie gras. Yeah. So you just, it doesn't matter how maybe casual something could feel or more upscale. Like you kind of run the gamut. How do you kind of string all of those dishes together? The rooting of the cooking is really involved into seasonality and showing off what the earth provides us really as it is. I think one of the missions I've always heard is Mother Nature is the true chef and we're just, the cooks, which is 100% true. And taking that and then just playing around with stuff, seeing what is fun out there, and food should be fun, there definitely should be fun. And I like the fact that you can come in here, I've been told a few times, you can come in here, you can sit at the bar, just have a plate of mafalda and leave, or you come in and, you have the caviar, you can have the foie gras, and, you can really run the gamut of what you want to do. I like to say it's a choose your own adventure kind of restaurant. It really is. Yeah. If you come in and say like, listen, just cook for me. Like I want to do this, or, I want to do a full tasting. We have the ability and, we have a great staff and a very talented staff that we have the flexibility of doing, a whole bunch of stuff, like the foie gras or, just something as simple as that, or something like, the big ass mozzarella stick that we have. If we were going to do something, I've had that mozzarella stick in my head for months. I started playing around with mozzarella sticks when we first opened and nothing really hit me. And just
I said, you know what, I'm just going to do a simple mozzarella stick with black truffle on top. And that was the answer, you know? So it's kind of fun to play around with stuff and just add little twists, you know?
Yeah. Was the twist that it's just the biggest
Yeah.
mozzarella?
Yeah. You know,
stick
I
ever?
played around with putting stuff inside. I put, you know, spicy capicola inside. I put peppers. I put everything. And at the end, I was like, you know what? It's just going to be a mozzarella stick. And that's what it's going to be. And we're going to add truffle to it. Just elevate it a little bit. And that's it. Simplicity, you know?
It's simplicity, but it makes it fun.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It makes it fun.
Especially when you kind of string it over 4 tables.
Yeah. I know. I did my cheese pull, and then I felt like you guys had to one-up me.
Well, you know, we always have to go a little bit higher. But
Well, speaking of that and one-upping on social media, you're also having a little fun on social media, which is, I think, really fun to see because your personality is coming out a little bit. People are getting to know you a little bit more if they haven't, you know, really had the opportunity to talk to you in person. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's fun. I have my wife likes to have a little bit of comedy at my expense. Sometimes.
Oh yeah, the banana suit.
The banana suit and some other ones. And you know, I think it's fun, and you know, we're just trying not to take ourselves too seriously, and especially with the, you know, the personal side of our restaurant. You know, the food side we take a little seriously, a little bit, but you know, just with us and trying to promote the restaurant, we like to have fun, do some fun stuff. So,
well, one thing I know that you take very seriously is your hospitality.
Oh, well,
you can't leave here without having a good time.
I hope not. No, I hope not.
And this beautiful room is a perfect spot to host private parties. But I know you're also hosting some pretty cool things coming up. You have a wine dinner on the calendar. So we have a wine dinner.
Yes, we have a wine dinner from a producer, Romatorio, who is a Tuscan producer. So we're using. So it's fun. So we have a bunch of Tuscan wine, a lot of them Sangiovese based. And we also have, so we're pairing that with a lot of Tuscan food, which is near and dear to my heart because of Beppe working. It was probably, you know, the Tuscan restaurant in Manhattan for years. And I learned from a very talented chef, Cesare Casella, who is kind of like the Tuscan master, as it were. So we're pairing the foods with the wine. You know, you get that nice terroir. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
With the wine and the Tuscan food and everything, it just brings everything together, and I feel like matching it with Tuscan cuisine is going to be cool. So we're doing that, and that's going to be on the 6th of March. We're also doing and I know that they're friends of yours, the Westchester Mushroom Company.
Yes, love them.
We're doing a something with them as well, a dinner with them. I'm not sure the date, but yeah.
Okay, and then hopefully.
Absolutely.
Now that I'm putting it like on film, on camera. We're going to do it maybe in May. Is that what we were thinking? May, yeah. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited to be back here. But and you're just so much fun, and it's so exciting to be here and to talk.
Thank you. Yeah.
To talk to you. But one of the coolest experiences that I've had recently, and it's again when I said you were kind of one of the reasons why I was inspired to come back and start the podcast. Restart the park after COVID was, you know, I'm sitting there for lunch one day, a huge truck pulls up in front of your restaurant and you are literally filling a cart full of these butcher paper wrapped pieces.
Yeah.
And that's when you told me that was basically a whole steer being delivered to your restaurant. So can we talk a little bit about the steer program? Because I think it's so cool that you're doing it. And I want more people to know about it and understand a little bit why it's important to you.
Yes. All of those things are very important to me. And I'd like to get the word out as well. So we have a steer program that we do with a ranch in Enid, Oklahoma called Walking Our Ranch. It's a wonderful program. The guy, Ryan, is a friend of the family. When we were opening, Brianne is from Texas. So her brother was talking with his friend who had a ranch, and he said, would you guys be interested in doing something with each other? And I said, yeah, absolutely. You know, I've never had Longhorn steer before. And so we started talking, and really logistically, it was the problem, you know, trying to get the steer from point A to point B. We talked about, you know, refrigeration trucks, refrigeration trains, you know, just a whole bunch of different things to get the steer here. So we finally figured that out. And then the program itself is amazing because each steer you can really just look at the lineage of it. So every time we get a steer or talk about getting a steer, usually we're in, contact a month before the steer goes to the butcher. And we talk about, his lineage and what we expect it to be, what it's feeding on, what's, the weight, who his father, what's his mother doing, there's just so much communication with the rancher. And we spend hours on the phone just talking about this steer and, what we want, what we think we're going to get. And then we talk about, how the last one was. And so, with that aspect, just really personalizing the steer itself, to what we want. And it's just an amazing program. And I think it's grass fed. It is grain finished, but it also walks around, when it's doing it. So it's just an amazing beef program. And Longhorn steer is just an amazing beef in itself. It's so bright red. It's so rich in iron and everything. It's a little bit gamier than like a regular beef, but in a really good way. There's a little bit less fat in it. It's just a great beef program. So,
and you're pretty much
we're using the whole thing.
Entire.
So the whole thing. So when we do get it, we figured out the logistics and getting it up here. And it does come, we break it down. It comes already like in the steaks and chops into everything, ground beef. And then we get it. And the steaks, fly out of here. And then we're just left with the ground beef and stuff like that. And we use everything. So
it's pretty amazing.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. And we're on I think it's, we get 4 a year, usually, if not 5. And I think we're on our 7th or 8th. Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
So, yeah.
Is there another one coming? Are we finishing?
Another one. So, so we just finished all the meat. And now another one is coming in the middle, I believe, this month.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be really fun. And are you getting excited about the spring? It's almost here. And
I am, yeah. I was thinking about it in the car ride over here. Spring is going to be here soon. Spring is a tough one because you have to really wait until things start to kick in. It's kind of like, can't really change. We can change the menu on, I think it's the 19th.
Yeah.
We can change the menu on the 19th, but that doesn't mean that everything's just going to appear.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those ones where it's kind of like, all right, well, we're going to change a little bit. Then we're going to wait and change and start to really develop it. And that's why I like spring, because there's so much stuff that really just starts to come. You know? The first thing that comes out is going to be the ramps. Excited for that. Last year we had a really good ramp season. We pickled some. We did our crostinis. That's going to be fun. And then the fiddleheads. We're doing morels. We have some really beautiful morels.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah. And one thing I'm excited about, I should say, is we're doing a cherry blossom panna cotta for spring.
Ooh.
And once the cherry blossoms start to hit, we're going to do that. And that's going to be pretty fun and funky. So yeah, we have some cool stuff planned, and I have a lot of ideas for the spring menu. So
I love that. You're thinking about it already. I like it.
Yeah. I felt like I was a little behind the ball on it, but yeah.
I love it. Well, I am so thankful, so grateful to be sitting here with you again.
Boy, I am as well. Thank you.
It was so much fun. I hope you had fun.
I did, yeah.
Please make sure to visit Marc here at Augustine's in Mamaroneck. And don't forget, he will be at an evening of good taste benefiting Feeding Westchester at the Savor Dining Hall at the Westchester, Thursday, August 18th. It's a great event for an amazing cause, My Heart Charity Feeding Westchester. Marc, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wait, are you still rolling? We're still rolling, right? Okay, great. Tell me, do you eat? Are you like one of the chefs that you're like, I am so sick of it, I can't do it?
I think Wolfgang Puck said it the best. Chefs don't eat; they taste all day. That's pretty much what I do. Just go around tasting everything all day. So, I do.
So you don't really get a chance to eat too much?
No. As a matter of fact, I always laugh because sometimes at the end of the night, I'll sit at the bar and eat out of a takeout container.
From here?
Yeah. So.
This is so good.
Thank you.
I love the cheese on the bottom.
I've always wanted to do something like that, and finally I was like, you know what, we just gotta do it.
Is there like a process where you think about something for a really long time and then you're like,
not really.
Just pull the trigger?
Yeah, no, there is. Like there are things like I still have in my kind of Rolodex up there.
Yeah.
If that's a thing. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
I think it's a thing.
But yeah, it's still up there and like kicking around.